Good afternoon. Please be comfortable. Lie down. Breathe with the music. Make the breathing as shallow as possible. The shallower the breathing, the more the carbon dioxide will saturate in the blood. We'll relax the body. Take your attention to the 2 feet. We'll start with the right leg. Move your attention up the right leg and relax the right leg. The toes, the sole, the heel, the ankle, the calf muscle, the knee, the thighs. Move your attention through the right leg. Similarly, take your attention through the left leg. Toes, sole, heel, ankle, calf muscles, knee, thighs. Check both the legs, they are relaxed. Move to the navel and relax the abdomen below the navel. It's very important to rotate attention in the perineum area. Awaken the perineum. It is the most important organ on the spiritual journey. To rotate your attention in the perineum. Take your attention above the navel and relax the abdomen above the navel. Rotate attention in the solar plexus. Feel the whole abdomen from upper to lower. Take your attention to the back. Relax the back. Right side of the back. Left side of the back. Move your attention through the backbone. Relax the whole of the back. The back is touching the floor. Feel the floor meeting the back. Start relaxing the chest, the small muscles of the chest, the ribs. Move your attention through the ribs. We'll relax the two hands. Start with the right hand. From the fingers to the wrist, to the forearm, elbow, rear arm. Relax the right hand. Same way, move your attention through the left hand, fingers, palms, wrist, forearm, elbow, rear arm. Check whether the two hands are relaxed, two arms are relaxed. Relax the shoulders. There's a lot of tension in the shoulders. Move deep into the shoulders and relax the shoulders. Right shoulder, left shoulder. Relax the neck. Release the jawbone. Relax the chin. The two lips, the upper lip, the lower lip. Release the tongue. Loosen the tongue. Rotate attention in the mouth, the top of the mouth. Relax the two cheeks, right cheek, left cheek. The two ears. Move into the ear and relax the ears. Right ear from out to in. Left ear out to in. Both the ears together. Relax that part of the head which is touching the floor. Feel the floor touching the head. Relax the top of the head. Move your attention through the forehead. Relax every small muscle. Relax the area around the eyes, right eye, left eye. There's a lot of tension around the eyes. And both the eyes, the right eye and left eye. Move your attention once through the body. If you feel tension anywhere, relax it. Now we've relaxed the physical body. It is in a state of sleep paralysis. we move from the physical body to the etheric body, the pranamaya kosh. We'll use a key of visualization. Visualize yourself floating on water. Feel the water. The waves going up and down. You're totally surrendered to the water. As if the whole body is an empty vessel and just the breathing moving in and out, and it is rising and falling with the waves. Now take your attention within, and within the body try to sense a subtle body. A body, molecular body like water. Sense it. If you can't sense it, visualize it. And sense the visualization. This body grows big, it grows small, it expands and contracts, it moves a little outside the body, it shrinks within the body. Feel the subtle body. Try to rotate this body anti-clockwise. Now we'll try to go a little higher, deeper within ourselves. We'll try to experience the astral world. From inside your head, try to look at the forehead as a screen of the mind. You are looking. Separate yourself into two parts, the screen as the forehead and I as looking. And look at your own mind, the screen of your own mind from within. See the different thoughts as they come. They create images. Emotions create images. Different geometric patterns. They float across the screen of the mind. Don't get involved with anything. The minute we think, we'll get involved. Just observe. Just observe the screen of the mind. Now try to create your own story on the screen. Bring in your own pictures. Create a scene. Something you would like to see. Maybe you're walking in the mountains, or maybe you're meditating by the sea. Create a scene which has a story, has a theme. Maybe you're playing with young children. And see yourself in that scene. The subtle body which we experience, the etheric body, feel it moving into this dream. It is entering the dream. It is taking part in the dream. There is an I in the dream and there's an I from outside looking at the dream. The outer eye is the beginning of the witness. The inner eye is experiencing the dream. It changes with the dream. It can move through walls. It can fly in the air. It can change its form. Keep observing the dream. Now allow the figures in the dream to slowly dissolve into the screen behind. Just an empty screen. And in that empty space, as we are looking at the screen, our very looking, the light of observation reflects in the particles of the etheric world and creates a reflection of light. Different shades of light, different glows of light. See the light, experience the light. Bathe in the light. This is the body of enjoyment. Enjoy the light. Now we'll slowly move ahead up into the Vijnanmay Kosh, Anandmay Kosh, Mahakal. To enter the higher worlds, we'll visualize a sunset. Feel yourself sitting in the sand. Visualize yourself sitting in the sand, on the sea, watching the sunset. Feel the sand. Hear the sound of the waves. Feel the cool breeze touching your body. See the sun setting in the sea, slowly going in at the horizon. And see the beautiful colors of sunset in the sky. Slowly the sun sets in the sea, and see the red sky. And slowly the red sky fades into a dark background. Total darkness. But we are present there as the seer, as the witness. We are just observing the darkness. The light of observation falls on the darkness, and the darkness gives out a beautiful glow, a luminous glow. And in that luminous glow, we can see the depth of the darkness. See different shades of darkness, different waves of darkness. All experiences of man are born in this darkness. If I meet someone and separate from someone, it is two waves meeting and separating. If I am angry on someone, it is one wave pressing another wave. Every experience, every thought, every feeling that is possible to man is born in this darkness. This is the ultimate ground of existence. Just keep observing it. Everything begins here, everything ends here. We'll observe this darkness for 2 minutes. Just keep looking. If thoughts bother you or feelings bother you, make an effort to dissolve in the darkness. Keep observing for 1 minute more. Feel the presence of the witness. Hold the presence of the witness. Just looking at the darkness. Sense the presence. Slowly we will start coming back. Start taking a few deep breaths. Feel your body. Stretch your fingers and toes a little. Take a few more deep breaths. And those who want to get up can slowly get up, turn on the right side and get up. Those who want to sleep can keep sleeping for a few more minutes. એ ખોલી નાખજે ને દરવાજો. ખોલી. વાંદરા આવ્યા હતા એટલે બંધ કર્યું. આય ખોલા. Right, 2482 and 5221. Now, when we see both these ratios, what else can we say about energy from one ratio to the other ratio? What can we say about energy? 2482 and 5221. So 2 became 5, right? So we used up 3 units of energy from 2 to 5. 4 became 2, so we saved 2 units of energy. 8 became 2, so we saved 6 units of energy. So we save 6 and we use 3. So on the whole, we are saving 5 units of energy. 5 units of energy. This is very important because this is the energy of the incoming impulse. Impulse. Right? Now, what does it say about 842? What is that 8 is faster than 4 and 4 is faster than 2. It means that the energy of excitement is faster than the energy of emotion, and the energy of emotion is faster than the energy of thinking, right? The energy of discrimination, the energy of perception. So, when the pattern would move up, when the incoming impulse is moving up the IESM center, right? There is this 8 and 4, which is like a very combustible material. It explodes, it reacts outside, right? And we have seen that many people, their reactions are very, very, what do you call, combustible, right? Explosive reactions they have, right? And that is that combustible material. Now, the other day we talked about softness. Where would softness start? Supposing we are moving on the path of softness, where in this and somebody answered the question over here. I don't remember this morning or yesterday. This morning, where would softness start? In M. In M, right? So the softness would first start in the words I use. The words I use. As I practice softness in my daily living, that is, M will automatically become 2 to 1. If M is aggressive, then I give it to you in an aggressive way. I give it to you in a tense way. But if M is soft, passive, right, then I start working on the external form of the reaction. External form of the reaction. That is, in the words in which I use. Now, this practice of softness in everything I do, whether I'm talking to someone, and later, as we said, that it can, what do you call, move to a deeper level, that I'm turning the page, I can turn it like this, or I can turn it like this. So in this M is 2, and in this M is 1. You see? So if I Gurdjieff calls this, somebody said over here that self-observation starts from the moving center. Self-observation starts from the moving center. So if I practice softness in everything I'm doing in life, right, will that softness move from 2 to 8? Will it move from M to S? Can you see? I'm consciously practicing softness, right, which Gurdjieff calls as external considering, right? Then every time I'm excited about something, she insults me, I'm excited. He is not on time, I'm excited, right? Food is not good, I'm excited. And all these excitements were reactions, creating reactions. And those reactions, now to be soft outside, I have to pause. I can't, if I go with the reaction, if I identify with the reaction, then I cannot speak softly. Then I cannot, what you call, have soft actions. So just the practice of being soft in my actions, in my speech, especially in speech, very, very important. Very, very important in speech. Many years ago, when I was with Mr. Tavaria, uh, one form of meditation had become very famous in those days, and it was called EST. Not so famous now, because the person who uh, coined EST, his name was Ludwig von Erhard, Werner von Erhard, right? And von Erhard then sold his old foundation in those days for maybe $1 billion or something to a company called Landmark. And Landmark is still taking courses today, and they're very famous, and in many places they have courses. Right? So in Mumbai in those days, there were many followers of EST, and it was a big thing and very, very famous EST. Right? And Von Erhard came to Mumbai for one meeting. He was going to take an EST session in Mumbai. It was in a big hall over there, and tickets were not available for that because it was all packed, booked. And Mr. Tavaria, somebody came and gave him two passes. Two passes. So he told me that let's go for this. So we went for the EST meeting. And von Herard was explaining his system and how it leads to the truth and everything inside. And he was explaining all the techniques of his meditation technique and all. And then, to create a shock, which Gurdjieff does, creating a shock among people, he started using foul words. Right? And started calling the public, and the people were clapping when he was using foul words. Mr. Tavaria told me, no, let's get up. This is the end of this thing. We don't want to sit here. Let's go home. So we got up and we left the session. He says, if a person cannot have what you call a discipline upon language, then what is the point of the inner journey, right? So, external considering starts with M. M2 becomes 1. There is softness in everything we say. There is no aggressiveness in our actions. Thank you. Now, if we just practice this one thing, from 2 will we move to 8? Because to be soft, I have to pause the excitement. If I become a victim of the excitement, then I'm going to blurt out over there. It's a reaction, right? So Just the practice of softness will slowly turn 8 into 2. Aggressiveness, right? That is a part of 4, right? The feeling of I. What is my feeling of I inside? Is it a feeling of I of softness, or is it a feeling of I of something hard? I am something. What kind of feeling of I do I have inside? Supposing we get a prize, or we get a degree, or maybe we have gathered a lot of knowledge or something. If it brings what you call hardness to my feeling of I, aggressiveness to my feeling of I, right? Then uh, I'm still at 4. But if the feeling of I, see, the feeling of the soul is soft, the feeling of the ego is hard. So as we sense the inner softness, we are moving from the ego to the soul. Soul. Actually, we were some years sitting with Mr. Gold, and we sat for a couple of 4, 5 hours, and he was talking, and we were asking questions and talking on many things. And one of the things we talked about was EST. EST. And he's telling us that Von Erhard did not know anything. He came to him and he borrowed the whole program from him. And then he created this big, what do you call, thing out of what he called EST. So from the, what do you call, the 1, from 2, I moved to 8, and the feeling of I becomes soft. Not I am something, I am nothing. I am an emptiness. I am dissolving into the void. Each moment there's that feeling of dissolving into the void. And when this feeling of I comes in, it changes all our relationships in life. Suddenly, the I cannot possess, because to possess something, the I has to become hard. This belongs to me. The I cannot say in a relationship, I am a father or I am a mother. For that, it has to crystallize a little to say it is a father or a mother. And suddenly, you feel both you're living on 2 planes, as if on one plane you're a father or a mother or brother or sister, and another plane you see that it's just dissolving into emptiness. So, through the practice of softness, you can move from 2 to 8, 8 to 4, and 8 to 2, 2 will become 5, right? Softness and sex energy go together. It is only with people with blocked sex energy that can be hard people. It is only people with blocked sex energy that can be obstinate people, rigidity, right? But if the sex energy is flowing freely, if if it is what you call soft, then that energy, then that person can never be hard. Then the I, the sattva, right? The quality of perception, the quality of discrimination, the quality of understanding is saturated by that sex energy which has risen, and it changes everything in life. So first is 248 to 5 to 2, and this movement we are talking about. Now, can you again put 2 4? Yeah, you already put it over there, right? I'm looking at it. Now, what else can you say? Supposing we just are beginning, this is our first day, and we see this ratio 2482 and 5221. What would my immediate reaction be? Supposing I've observed a little of myself and I say that okay, I want to observe anger, but I'm finding it difficult. And here is the ratio 2482. I want to observe my irritation. I'm finding it difficult, right? And this ratio 5221, then what would be an immediate kind of perception? What would be an immediate kind of uh, if I say if this is 4 and 8, and 4 and 8 is highly explosive material, highly combustible material, which Mr. Tavaria calls sensitiveness and not sensitivity, right? Then how am I going to get to I, right? If I'm exploding in anger, at that moment I won't be able to do anything. So, where does the education start first? Do I start when I'm getting angry, or do I practice when I'm in a quiet state? I have to start by practice when I'm in a quiet state. Can you understand? Because when I'm getting angry on her, hey, don't interrupt me, right? I'm getting angry on her. Can you understand? It just goes at that time. It just explodes at that time. So I'll say there's nothing I can do at that time. There's nothing I can do at that time, right? This Mr. 8 and Mr. 4 is so powerful that you're talking about 2 and 2, 4 and 4 and 8, 12. There is no way I can, what do you call? So the pattern has to be observed and understood in a quiet state. Which is the best quiet state to observe the pattern? See, 8 and 4 are very fast, emotional and excitement. Emotional and excitement. Intellectual is very slow. When we read Ospinski, he has put the numbers. Emotion is 40,000 times faster than intellectual, and sex is 40,000 times faster than emotion. So, I mean, how do you stop this? How do you stop this? It's an impossible, what do you call, right? So, when is the best time to practice? Before we go to bed at night. Before we go to bed at night. So, in the daytime, I've reacted with her, right? Now, before going to bed at night, I observe that pattern and I practice not reacting with her. This will take less than a minute. Less than a minute. And maybe I've had 5 reactions in the day, which I don't remember, but when I go back at night and I try to remember them, right? And I put consciousness in those reactions, what will happen? What will happen? Say I've done it for 3 months. Then on the fourth month, I'm getting angry on her. Will the memory come into pause over there? Will I automatically start pausing? Can you? Because I've practiced. One of the most beautiful, what do you call, gurus of the last century, J. Krishnamurti, right? And Asit Chandmal wrote a beautiful book when J. Krishnamurti was 85. It was called A Thousand Moons. Thousand Moons. And it was a beautiful book. And he wrote on, in one chapter is one day in the life of Krishnamurti. One day in the life of Krishnamurti. Yeah. And Krishnamurti, he says that before I go to bed at night, I rewind the day. I don't miss a single day. I rewind the day, right? And if I've slipped in consciousness anywhere in the day, I correct it before I go to sleep at night. Now, if Krishnamurti said this, we are still at a very, what do you call, right? So, when we go to bed at night, if we can remember what we have where we have slipped in the day, right? One of the names of Krishna is Achyut, the one who does not slip, but we are the people who slip. So we'll rewind the day and just remember. Another thing we can do is that in the day, whenever after an hour or 2 hours, can we just sit down and say, where did I get identified? Where did I get identified? So we can practice this slowly over a period of time. We can observe, hold presence while walking, eating, breathing, listening, waiting. And every time we hold presence, we are damming the manas. The flow of the manas, we are damming it. It is pausing. It is not able to create thought forms. It is not able to create thought forms. So we are, what do you call, breaking the whole electrical circuit. We are stopping the whole electrical circuit. See, we have to learn to apply a pause in the way we learn cycling and driving. You get it? So the Nirodha Sanskar is something which has to be very spontaneous, because the pause should not be aggressive. The pause should not be hard. The pause should be a very soft pause, as if you're just hesitating in life, and a very soft pause. And that is how the pause comes about. So if we keep practicing when we are in the quiet state, when we are meditating, when we are, then over a period of time it will automatically come in our behavior. Gurdjieff calls this as work memory. Work memory. Now, if we were looking for an archetypal example of pause from the Mahabharata, whom would we look for? Whom would we look for? Dronacharya. Dronacharya. So we want to train ourselves to perfect the pause when the pause is not firing. When 2482 is not firing, we are practicing for 5221. Practicing for 5221. So if Drona is engaged on his chariot, firing the Drona bow, he cannot be killed. He is invincible. He is invincible. When the mind is in motion, Drona with bow in hand, S is equal to 8, E and 4, both 8 and 4 are firing in full form. I as 2 is powerless. I as 2 is powerless. So Drona actively fighting is 2, 4, 8, 2. 2, 4, 8, 2. Now Drona sitting in meditation, the beginning of pause. The beginning of pause. So the pattern can only be understood when we are sitting silently. The pattern cannot be understood when we are, what do you call? It is firing on all cylinders. When it is firing on all cylinders, it cannot be understood. So when he's sitting in meditation, 2482 is non-operable, non-operation. His weapons are set on the side. But he is only we can only set him in meditation if we say Ashwatthama has died. Ashwatthama has died. So when 2482 is undefeatable, active anger, sensual pull, irritation, vanity, envy, compulsion, fault finding, justifying, complaining, when all these are active, we can't reverse them. We have to wait them out. Now, there is a brief interval between one explosion of anger upon her and one explosion of anger upon him. And in that brief interval, I have to study the anger. I have to study the pattern, right? I have to take responsibility for that pattern within me. So there's an interval in between when the tendency is just sitting doing nothing. The anger is lying within me, it is vibrating within me, but at present it is doing nothing. This is Drona in meditation, the moment of pause. The incoming impulse is coming, but as long as I hold the pause, the incoming impulse cannot do anything. Now, what is a ha? Let's take the word Drona a little. Let's take the word Drona a little. It means a vessel. So when you pour water into the vessel, right? So it takes the shape of the vessel. So I've taken the Vedic root, which is dhru to flow, a liquid. And a liquid has a tendency to take the shape of anything. An acharan, that is which is repeated, a kind of conditioning. So every repetition of anger creates a pattern within me. The liquid energy becomes a crystallized energy in the pattern. So all habits are born out of Dronacharya. All habits are mechanical habits are also born out of Dronacharya, and the habit of pause is also born out of Dronacharya. Now, how do we send the, what do you call, Dronacharya into meditation? How do we send the Dronacharya into meditation? Yeah, but killing Ashwatthama is what? It is a half truth. It is not a truth. It is a half truth, right? So when a half truth hits us like a shock, momentarily the manas stops. It pauses. Momentarily the manas pauses, right? In that shock, if we can see the pattern, then it's possible. We see the pattern, right? But it is a half truth. It can never be a full truth. Why can't it be a full truth? Right? Because Ashwatthama can never die. Ashwatthama can never die. It is a half truth. It gives a momentary shock. It gives a momentary shock. What happens in our lives when we get shocks? What happens in our lives when we get shocks? We buffer them. We buffer the shock, right? Truth is nothing but awakening, and for awakening, we need shocks. All shocks are half truth. All shocks are half truth. Ashwatthama cannot die because he's a seed pattern in Mahakal. Right? He's a seed pattern in Mahakal. See the beauty of this. In his Yoga Sutra, Patanjali says, the Rishi Patanjali says, Satu mule tad vipake. He does not, Satu bija, he does not say, because as long as the seed exists, it will take fruition. He's saying, as long as the root exists, because the Rishi knows that the seed pattern can never be destroyed. The seed pattern lives forever and ever. Can you, can you get? But the root which takes fruit and takes nourishment, the part which takes nourishment. So he says, Satu mule tad vipake jati ayu bhoga. Right? Right? As long as the root exists, it will seek fruition as jati ayu bhoga. We won't go into that. Right? It will seek fruition. And that fruition is jati ayu bhoga. So the Rishi does not use the word seed. He uses the word root, right? So all half truths, they bring a kind of shock inside, which is the most famous example of shock. Most famous example of shock. Huh? Tulsidas. Tulsidas is the most famous example of shock, right? Tulsidas, he had a deep attachment for his wife. He could not live without his wife, right? And one day when Tulsidas was out, the wife's brother came and took the wife to the father's home, to his home, right? Maike chali gayi, right? There's that song, मैं maike nahi jaunga, dekhte rahiyo, or something like that, right? And when Tulsidas came home, he saw that his wife had gone and he could not, what do you call, live the pain. He could not live the pain, right? And he went out in search for his wife to the, what do you call, his father in law's home. And it was a big storm had gathered, it was raining heavily. And there was a river which had to be crossed. And he did not realize the river was in flood, but he was thinking about his wife. And he was oblivious to all the rain and the storm and the thunder. He was thinking about his wife, so he stepped on a dead body and crossed the river. And then he came to his wife's home, and his wife's room was on the first floor, right? And he saw a big snake hanging down there, and he thought it was a rope. So he climbed up the rope and came to his wife's balcony, and his wife said, this kind of passion which you have for me, if you have for Ram, it can change your life. And that arrow went straight in. He did not buffer the arrow, right? How do we buffer? We buffer through justification. Justification. Right? The minute he did not justify that I have walked 50 miles to come and see you, I have gone through rain, and I had stepped on a dead body, and I climbed upon a snake. He did not start telling his wife, and this is how you treat me, right? This is the way you say things to me. The shock went straight deep inside. All the, what do you call, sheets of all the body broke. And that one shock, it gave him a glimpse of the inner Ram, and he went back. And then he spent his days in worship of Ram. In worship of Ram. Most famous. But we get married so that we can get shocks. Right? So we can get shocks. But then we buffer the shock. The wife says, you're an idiot. And all wives consider the husband an idiot. So, right? The wife says, you're an idiot. And you say, no, I'm not an idiot. Can't you see I lecture to so many people? Right? I'm not an idiot. Right? Buffer it. But if we were to be receptive, if we were to be open, then the shock would go in. And every, what you call, shock is a half-truth. It is a half-truth. Right? And so it would go in, and maybe it would do its job. One shock, for Tulsidas, one shock is enough. And for us, a lifetime of shocks is not enough. Right? So, so Dronacharya had to be given a half-truth that went in as a shock. There was a pause, and in that pause comes the understanding that I've been living this sanskar, repeating this sanskar for thousands of years. I want to be free of this sanskar. Intellectually, we kill the sanskar. Slowly, it will move away in our daily living. Daily living. So the pause disarms the expression of the seed vibration. The seed vibration can never die. That is why it is called Chiranjeevi. It is lying in Mahakal. But the pause is at the level of the manas. At the level of the manas. So Yudhishthir's half-truth brings a collapse in the action of the incoming impulse in the action of the thought form. Now, Mr. Tavaria joined some sutras to uh, this pause. So we'll just take those sutras a little. We won't go very deep into the sutra, right? Vyuthana nirodha sanskara, abhibhava pradurbhava, nirodha kshana, chitta anvyoha, nirodha parinama, right? Sutra chapter 3, 9. This is one of the deepest sutras in our inner mechanics of transformation. Can you put it up? Oh, you want it this? It's here. Yeah. Point 45. No, just take the sutra. I'll take Mr. Tavaria's translation first. The mind reacts to that which is seen, right? In Yoga Sutra language, this is vyuthan. Vyuthan is reaction, right? The mind reacts to that which is seen. Then follows a moment of mind control, nirodha sanskar, pause. Then follow, the mind is reacting, then follows a moment of nirod, pause, right? In that pause, there is a gap between the reaction, right, and the next impulse which is going to come in, right? So, in that gap, the chit can, what do you call, conjunct with that gap, can join with that gap. It can rest in that gap, right? So the mind reacts to what that which is seen, then follows a moment of mind control. Then, can you do you have the other part? Somehow it's been deleted from here. What he, oh yeah, his whole translation. I don't know. One point has been deleted from here. The mind reacts to that which is seen, then follows a moment of mind control. Anyway, the mind joins with that gap, and in the joining with that gap, right, after some time, everything goes away from the mind, and there is the perceiving consciousness, there's the observing consciousness. This is what Mr. Tavaria is essentially saying. He'll look for the translation. Now we'll just look at the words over here. We don't want to go very deep in the words. Vyuthan is reaction, Nirodh is pause, right? So he's saying Abhibhava Pradurbhava, right? You found it? Yeah. Can you just read it out? Yeah.
The sutra goes like Vyuthan Nirodh Sanskaryoho Abhibhava Pradurbhava Nirodh Kshana Chit Anvayah Nirodh Parinamah.
Nirodh Parinama. Right? Now try to understand in the second sutra, Patanjali Rishi says Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodh. So what is yoga? Yoga equals to Nirodh. Right? So Nirodh Parinam does not mean that Nirodh has happened, but it does mean an inner transformation has happened where we have created the foundation for the final Nirodh. Yoga equals to Nirodh, right? So it is like a foundation ground. So now read Mr. Tavaria's translation. Yeah.
The sequence of mental states is as follows. The mind reacts to that which is seen.
So we react, right? Right.
Then follows a moment of mind control.
We pause, Nirodh.
Then ensues a moment wherein the chitta responds to both these factors.
So there will be an inner tug of war. The chitta will, what do you call? The anger will pull me in one direction, the pause will pull me in the opposite direction. Can you understand? So there's an inner tug of war, right? Mr. Tavaria calls this inner tug of war as mind control and controlling factor. The anger is the controlling factor. The reaction, Vyuthan, is the controlling factor. Nirodh is the mind control. So there is an inner tug of war between mind control and the controlling factor. Right? So whatever sanskar is troubling us, is we are identified with it, we are reacting in 4 and 8 outside, right? And that is vyuthan, and now we are pausing, which is mind control, that is controlling factor, right? Right.
Finally, these pass away and the perceiving consciousness has full sway.
Right. So if we are able to rest in that pause where we have paused, if we can hold our attention in that pause, right? Join to that pause, then after some time the pull of the anger will automatically subside, and there will just be the mind, the screen of the mind will be empty, and only the seer will be watching inside. The perceiving consciousness will have full sway. So Vyuthan is reaction, Nirodh is pause, Chitta Anvyo. In that moment, that gap, we join the attention, right? Nirodha Parinam. If we can rest in that gap, if we can hold our attention in that gap, right, then it becomes the Nirodh Parinam, the transformation of Nirodh, which allows us to move into the real Nirodh later on. So he says this is the first sutra he takes on pause, right? Yeah, we'll take the second sutra, then we'll pause over there.
Sutra 10, Book 3. Tasya Prashant Vahita Sanskarat.
Yeah, can you read his translation? Sorry.
Through the cultivation of this habit of chitta, there will eventually occur a steadiness of spiritual perception.
As we practice this, tasya prashant vahita, the outward flow, the flow of the chitta will now be like a calm river. It is like you were learning cycling and now you're cycling very easily, right? You're cycling very easily. So the old sanskar of vyuthan, reaction, is what do you call abhibhava, setting, like the setting sun, and the new sanskar of nirodh is pradurbhava, like the rising sun. The old sanskar, we had an old sanskar of reaction, maybe for thousands of years we've been reacting. Now that habit of reaction is now like the setting sun dissolving away, and the new sanskar of what you call nirodh, pausing, the new habit of nirodh, the spontaneous habit. I won't call it a mechanical habit or automatic habit. The spontaneous habit of nirodh is rising, and in that in between moment, if we can join our chit, it becomes the nirodha parinam. So he says, as we practice this new habit which we have formed, this new way of cycling which we have formed, will move like a calm river. Trasya prashanta vahita sanskar. The new sanskar of pause. The old sanskar was of reaction. The new sanskar will be that of pause, and that sanskar of pause will flow like a flowing river. It will become so spontaneous in our life that so many things will come from outside, but it won't upset us in any way, because that inner new habit of pausing is happening very, very spontaneously. It is flowing like a river, right? We'll take this deeper tomorrow, right? We still have 5-10 more minutes. Anyone wants to ask a question can ask a question.
So, so how can we relate this event of 2482 that you said to the Khandav forest episode? Is there a link or a connection to that? As in burning of the Khandava, as all the sex emotions and all those energy of aggression and everything, as you said, lie in this thing. And in Mahabharat, the episode of Khandav.
Beautiful question. I don't know if I have the time to answer it. Okay. I didn't want to go into the chakras. So when an incoming impulse travels up from Ida and Pingla, so they wrap around the backbone this way, and it moves through the Manipur chakra. When it moves through the Manipur chakra is already not filtering, I will say, dropping animal patterns into that incoming impulse. Can you understand what I'm trying to say? Now, I have a negative emotion. Now, as long as that negative emotion is there, it is okay. But if that negative emotion connects to the animalism within me, can you understand what I'm trying to say? Right? I'm upset with you. I'm angry with you. So I'm saying I'm angry with you, or I may get little angry with you. Right? Till then, it has not connected. But already in the incoming impulse, the Manipur chakra is put in the, what do you call, templates. The templates. You understand? So as I'm getting angry on you, you answer something to me, and I go, I clench my teeth. So whatever, I've connected to some monkey cells inside. Can you understand? So whenever the negative emotion connects to uh, violence, violence does not mean I take a stick and hit you, right? This is also violence. This is also violence. I'm shaking my hands is also violence. Can you understand? I have connected to the animal world. I've connected to the animal world. And that is why in 2482 there is this explosion which comes out of the animal world. Right? And that whole area is what fragments our attention. It is these animal passions which fragment our attention. It is that excitement of the animal world which fragments my attention. This fragmentation of attention is called as khanda. Can you see? It is the Manipur chakra, khanda. It is the Manipur chakra, khandit, right? Khandit. It is broken up into parts, the Manipur chakra. Now, as we do the phase exercise, practice the phase exercise, Mr. Tavaria says over a period of time, the Manipur chakra becomes sort of suspended, right? Means its petals are open like this. As we practice the phase exercise, the petals close down, right? All reactions come from the Manipur. Now what happens, those incoming impulses which the Manipur is closed, they find a new pathway near the Manipur, right? And they open a chakra which is lying latent just now. It is lying late. That name of that chakra is the Kundali chakra. Don't mix it up with Kundalini. It is called the Kundali chakra. In Manipur is the energy of sensitiveness. In Kundali is the energy of sensitivity. Sensitiveness is combustible material. It will explode at any. I can explode at any time, right? It is pure animalism. When the pathway is changed and the incoming impulse goes now not with the energy of sensitiveness, it goes with the energy of sensitivity. She says she's what do you call? She calls me some names or she insults me. Sensitiveness, I explode. Sensitivity, I understand her. Why does she explode in this way? Definitely she is holding some knot inside. I sense her. Can you get what I'm trying to say? So that the incoming impulses move along a different pathway and they come to the Kundali chakra, and from there they go to the Anahat chakra where E is. And this is S. Mooladhar, Swadhisthana, Manipur. Right? Is S. So instead of going to Manipur, they go to, and they form a different pathway inside. This is like forming a new pathway in the brain. Forming a new pathway in the brain. I had an old pathway of reaction, now I have a new pathway of pause. New pathway of pause. Sensitivity. Pause is sensitivity. Right? So he says that those animal patterns have to be burnt. So the Khanda forest is the Manipur chakra. Right? And it is now, it is burnt by Agni. Right? The fire of understanding, the fire of Kundalini, it is burnt by that. Right? And you will see in the Khanda forest, all the animals died. Arjun did not let a single animal escape free. Right? I think just some birds, the sarang birds escaped. Right? And they have a significance. The sarang birds escaped, but Arjun did not allow a single animal to escape. Right? So the whole Manipur chakra was totally closed at that time. Right? And the new chakra of sensitivity opens. Where do we find parallel in Western mythology? Where do we find parallel in Western mythology? In the story of Hercules. In the story of Hercules. Hercules, the king gave him 24 hours to clean the stable. The stable is the Manipur chakra. Right? And when he saw the stable, it was such a huge stable, there was no way to clean that stable. Then he walked a little into the forest and he sees a river flowing there. Right? The river is the Swadhisthana chakra. Right? Water is this thing of Swadhisthana chakra. The river is the Swadhisthana chakra. So he cuts, what do you call, a pathway for the river. He changes the pathway of the river and sends it into the stable, and the stable is cleaned in 24 hours. And so in Western mythology, we also have the same thing, the cleaning of the Khanda forest. Right? Okay. We'll stop over here. Right?
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Good night. We meet tomorrow morning.